Okay.
This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net. And today I have another wonderful musician with me, brought to you by Impact PR. And her name is Nitro. Nitra, correct?
Nitro Nitra is the
Oh,
band.
Nitra. Okay.
Nitro Nitra. But I go by Nitro and I go by Nitra. So whatever works.
Whatever works. I love it. You know, that's just to prove to our audience that, musicians today really have a lot of personality, and they're not like what we see in the movies, like, oh, don't talk to me. No, you want us to talk to you. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think it's about making that connection with people. Life is all about making connections.
Absolutely. Well, I
So
understand you made a connection on
yeah,
NBC's American as a contestant, right?
I did. Yes.
So tell
We
us
were
what,
actually
yeah.
we were actually the representative for Delaware.
Oh,
So it was one of those things where it was a day where the band just came off a regional tour, and I had got back home and I was feeling kind of down, like, okay, what's next, universe? You know what I mean? I was feeling kind of down, right? So on those days, I have a tendency to go outside and then skate around town so I could just clear my head. So I had on my headphones, and as I was skating, I was going down a hill and I fell. So
no.
I was already in this mood. And then once I fell, I was just over it, right? So I started like saying, why? You get into those
Yep.
moments where you're just like, why me? So at that very moment, I heard Phil Collins, You'll Be in My Heart. And the lyrics said, girl, stop your crying. It'll be all right. And I was like, okay, I feel much better. I went in the house, right? So I went in the house, and then what popped up on my phone was, hey, we think you would be great on American Song Contest. We are looking for contestants. Please send us your band's music. And I sent in, went through the casting process, and the rest is history.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I'm so glad that you sort of told the story the way you did, because um, so many of us, we're working and everything seems to be fine. Okay. And
Yeah.
then we get to the end of a project
Mhm.
and we feel like, oh my God, where's my worth? I'm not doing something right now. I don't
Yeah.
know what's next. And
Yeah.
oftentimes we'll really get down on ourselves about, you know, I'm done. I don't know if this is ever going to work again or when it
Yeah.
is going to work. So
Yeah. You are
thanks.
absolutely right. And it's like we go down this rabbit hole because we can't see it, right? But it's
Exactly.
there, right? And we feel that there's this grand future and destiny and whatever you want to call it, but you're done the project. Now, mind you, we didn't even take the time to just really be grateful for the project that we just did, and we're
Exactly.
always so, what's next? What's next? What's next? And we kind of have to like train ourselves to like sit in the unknown, because what's next will happen, but we go down this rabbit hole with the mind, and it's like there's a lot of times where I have to pull back and then say, wait a minute, just be still. It's okay.
It is
It is
okay.
okay. Because the mind will like take you, to places you don't even want to go, so
Exactly.
you just have to train it, you just really have to train your mind.
Well, and it's interesting because I changed my work schedule, about a month ago.
Okay.
And I finally said, I'm going to record on certain days, and on the other days, I'm going to do other things. And
Yeah.
the first week, because I don't record on Mondays. I woke up on Monday morning and this bad talk in my head was, you're worthless. What are you doing today? You know, like, why aren't you recording? You've been recording 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I finally had to say to myself, wait a second, it's okay.
Yes.
But until
Yes.
until we come in contact with that, we're gonna be mean to ourselves, meaner than
Absolutely.
anybody else. But
Absolutely.
tell me how you got this band started, because you know, we have so many young people out there who, have talent. They, want to start a career, and because family and friends tell them they're good, they make the assumption that they're good, and they
Yeah.
may be, but we can't rely on the family and friends to
Yeah.
tell us 100% truth. So
Right,
how
right,
did
right.
how did you get started?
So for me, prior to 2018, I was really just living this life of repetitive loops of like mental bondage of working dead end jobs, going in and out of drug rehabs, institutions. I was just on this cycle. Why? Because I wasn't pursuing what I came here to do. And that affected me because in actuality, I didn't have the belief in myself. So at the end of 2018, I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. I looked at my life and I just noticed that I had not accomplished anything really that I wanted to. And I said, you know what? It's time for me to live the life of my dreams. And that required me to really detach from the world and start to reprogram my subconscious mind, and really took that whole 2018 2019 year to like really work on the belief in myself. So I would do positive affirmations, and I would make a recording of I am a singer that travels all around the world, and I would listen to it every single night, and I still listen to it, so I would do this consistently because I was just tired of being tired, and I knew that I needed to step into a higher version of myself. So I would do this every single night. And 2019 is when I started going to open mics with one of my guitarists. So we would just go out, just keep on going out. I'm still working on myself. And then COVID hits, and I get inspired to create this concept album, which was more of a solo project that encompassed all genres to really tell the story of my own awakening, from focusing on the external to realizing that I need to focus inwardly. So COVID hit, did the concept album, created a whole visual album, and then bam, things just took off from there. It really sparked the interest of a manager of an independent label. Then I got a band. Then we went on tour. Then 2022 went on the show, So it's a matter of really setting the intention and saying, this is what I want to do. And a lot of times we see the glory in the fame or being a celebrity.
Sure.
And it's really not something that you want to do in your heart. So I would just say, if it's something that you really want to do, all you have to do is examine, does it really give you joy? Am I willing to do what I need to do as far as detaching from everything else that's not in alignment with the truth of I am a singer or I have a band or whatever? Am I willing to give up everything else that is not aligned with that? And most of us aren't. So at the end of the day, I know that you should do whatever your heart says that you should do, and examine, is this the road that I want to go down? What's the story? And a lot of times, Karen, it takes us being who we are not to realize who we really are.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's all part of it, So hey,
Well,
if it's in your heart, just go for it,
and sadly, so many of us can give an argument why we can't do things. Okay.
Right.
Whether
Right.
it's nobody has encouraged us or we've been
Yes.
discouraged by others.
Yes.
And we all look at success differently.
Yes.
Now, if I felt that being a podcaster, my success had to equal the success of, let's say, even a Dr. Phil. Who am I kidding? Okay. He's been out there for years and years.
Yeah.
He's got backers. No, I'm not going to sit on a stage with him because we're different. His success is his, my success is mine. But if we're sitting here being envious of other people in our genre,
yes,
we're never going to make it. So
Right.
what you did was you stepped back and you said, who is that person? That's not who I want to be.
No, absolutely not. And at the end of the day, I know that we can achieve whatever we really want to achieve at the end of the day. So if you see yourself in those realms, it can happen so like magically, you like won't even see it coming. Like I don't believe in the term of being realistic, right? Because realistically, I shouldn't be sitting here right now. Realistically, I should not have done a show on NBC and I just started taking music seriously within that year, realistically, but it is all about where we can see ourselves. And you may not see yourself where I can see myself. So your journey and my journey and everyone's journey is all personal to you.
You are
and whatever
so right.
it is, it's all good.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
Well, I will tell you, your story fits into another podcast we do, which is called Avoid the Maze. And the maze is what we're all walking through in life. Okay. I can't tell you how many times I've been told I couldn't do things. And I believed some of those and I never went back to them. And there were others I said, you're crazy. No, I can do it and I'm going to. And I realized that the first ones that I didn't do, I didn't have a passion for them anyways. Because if I had, I would have been doing them, improving myself. So, for all of you out there listening, whether you want to be a performer, whether you want to be a doctor, a nurse, a chalk artist. In fact, I met a chalk artist the other day. I was going to a grocery store and this young woman was on the ground drawing pictures, gorgeous pictures. And I asked her, had, the store hired her? She said, no, but they like her being out there because she attracts customers.
Yeah.
And she was getting commissioned by customers to do murals in their homes because of her chalk drawings.
See that?
So she found a way to be noticed. And she said, and all this is costing me is some time and some chalk. And I loved it. I just loved it.
See, that's what it's all about. Just like really stepping out there and then doing what you want to do. And as far as the maze, have you seen the movie Rudy?
Not yet. No.
Do you remember that? Okay. So Rudy is about a college football player.
Oh, yes, I have. Yes. Yep.
Pint size, right?
Yep.
Everybody told him, and I love to watch that movie. Listeners, if you're ever in doubt about what you can do, Rudy is one of the greatest examples of transcending what people say that you should be doing and what you think yourself that you could be doing. But even the priest told him, you can't go to Notre Dame. This is not the bus for you. You're not smart enough. You're not tall enough. But Rudy felt that fire in his heart that this is what he's going to do. Even me, I'm not your typical rock and roll singer, but in my heart, I just have to rock out, you know? And typically, I'm not what rock is, you know? But you know what? I'm going to continue to rock out. And I know what I'm called here to do. And I know that I'm here to transcend the norm, transcend the stereotypes. And you know, you just really have to be yourself. But it takes you really finding out who yourself is.
Absolutely.
But that's the key, you know?
Well, and it's about being vulnerable, which you did in your music. Your music is all those deep things that
Thank you.
That most people wouldn't want to share, but I think we need to, because that's how we get to know each other. Okay.
Yes.
My mother used to use the phrase, don't hang out your dirty laundry for your neighbors to see. And I would look around at her and go, Mom, what do you mean? Like, don't you wash your laundry before you put it up? And then as I got older, I started to understand what she was saying.
Yeah.
And I said, no, Mom, that's not me. I'm an open book. Okay. Because if you don't like me for something that I believe in, it's okay. You don't have to like me.
Right.
But I want you to know who I am. I'm not going to tell you you have to believe like me. Absolutely not. Because I'm not going to let you tell me to believe like you either.
Yes. That's right, Karen.
So tell me, when 2018 comes along, you decide to go on this transformation.
Yes.
And you start writing music. Was it that you looked in the mirror one day and said, hey, I don't know that person? Or how did that really come about?
Prior to 2018, it was hard to look in the mirror, right? So I was just living this life of existing, right? So I always felt in my heart that I was supposed to be doing music. And I would wake up and I would say, this is not my life. You know? How did I get here? And I had realized that I had been making decisions during that time, all based off of fear. You know, I would have an audition and I would be so insecure and be filled with like so much fear, and I didn't have the confidence. So I would take a pill. You know what I mean? So like I would take a pill and then I would show up to the audition high. So like now I'm working against myself, right? Because at the heart of it, that's not what I want. But if that's not what you want, why are you doing it? Because really I'm wrapped up in fear. Well, how about this? How about, and instead of continuing on that path, how about we do some inside work and let go of this fear?
Absolutely.
How about we work on the confidence? Because so much we like want to work on the outside. Okay, if I get these circumstances to be right, then I will be happy and I won't have this fear. But that's so backwards. No, we have to get the circumstances within ourselves right? And then our circumstances outwardly start to change.
Absolutely.
So it was just a whole series and then loop of doing that consistently. So finally I said, you know, I have had enough. I'm driving myself insane. And I was with my ex-boyfriend at the time and we broke up. So I had to go back home. So there I was once again, lost everything. I have nothing and I'm back at my mom's house. What do I do? And that night when I arrived on my mom's doorstep, I was so distraught and I went to sleep, and I had this dream, and in the dream there was this mystical angel being, whatever you want to, call it. And she stood on this clock tower, and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she told me it was time. And I knew that it was time to work on myself, time to really do what I came here to do on this earth. Time to stop playing. I got enough data, of pain and sorrow and of not getting what it is that I want. But it was, time to release the fear, time to let go of my limited belief systems, time to let go of all that. And it's time to be happy because I deserve to be, but I never gave myself a chance. And what we have to do is really allow ourselves to have and receive. And that's so hard for most of us, because we've been conditioned to, it's like we've been conditioned to always look at what is not there. Even now, if I'm on a gig or if I'm on a show and I see that my mind is going to what I don't have at that show, or how many tickets I didn't sell, I like have to say to myself, wait a minute, what do you have? What are you doing? Have fun. We have to allow ourselves to have fun because it's all good.
You are so right. You're hitting everything so perfectly that it shows that you hit sort of rock bottom, and you knew that this is not where you wanted to be. And I'm sure it wasn't easy. I mean, you had the dream, and the next morning things didn't just happen, but you started taking the steps. Okay. And that is why there are individuals like yourself that maybe 10 years ago, we would have looked at you and said, no, she'll never make it.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to prove that whatever it is that we want to do,
absolutely,
we can do. And sometimes we have to look at that in a different way. Real quickly here, when I was graduating high school, I told my parents I was going to go to college. I wanted a broadcasting degree. My parents looked at me and they said, women aren't in broadcasting. Don't waste our money. Now, this was 1968. So they were sort of right. There were very few women who were on the radio or really had any seating at the table in broadcasting. But behind their back, I didn't let them know what courses I was taking for the first 2 years of school. And I got my associates in broadcasting. And my parents, when they found it out, they said, we're not paying any more money. You've just wasted our money. Okay. So, I eventually got married. I did all types of jobs, but none of them satisfied me. Come 2008, my son is graduating high school. He's going to go to college. And I look at him and I think, you know what? I'm going back for my degree. I'm going to complete it because I know what I want to do. And I'm a big girl now and I can do it. And went and got my degree. The day I finished my degree, I just said, I'm going to start podcasting. Had no idea what I needed. Okay. Do I really need this fancy soundboard? How many computers do I need? How many microphones? I had no idea, but I started learning. I started, taking those chances. Skip to 2016. My mother was ill. She was dying. I was staying at her house. I said to her one day, Mom, I'm going to go in the other room. I'm going to do a podcast. She had no concept of what the podcast was. So I said, I'm going to be on the radio. Okay, honey, go do what you got to do. So when I'm done, I come back into her room and I said, I'm done. And she goes, just tell me one thing. Are you a famous broadcaster? My answer was, I am the most famous broadcaster in this house. And I say that to myself many days when I come into the studio and I look
Yes.
at my calendar and I go, who am I kidding? I'm going to record 8 shows today? Like, who am I? And then I go, in this room, I'm
Yes.
a famous broadcaster.
Yes.
So that's what we have to do when there's something that we want in life.
Yes. Absolutely. And if you hear stories of all successful people, guess where they were famous first?
At home, in their bedroom, and in their head.
In your imagination.
Yep.
That's why my song or our song, Walk Into the Sun, is all about that. That's why the music video is Willy Wonka meets Alice in Wonderland. Why? Because those two movies are uh, the best examples of what your imagination can do. Willy Wonka's most famous song and the theme song is pure imagination, you know? So you have to do it in your imagination first, continuously. Imagination is everything.
Absolutely. So
It's everything.
tell me about this music that is coming out so that everybody can go find it and listen
Yes.
to it.
Yes. It is called Walk Into the Sun. And prior to this song, our songs were more about where I had been, you know, the pain and the struggle. And I really wanted to put out a song that was about where I am now. So the band and I got together and we said, okay, let's write a song that shows the happiest land, the happiest land of fantasies. Like, if we lived in a fantasy world, what would it look like? And the lyrics, lollipop dreams, everything as it seems, you know. So we really wanted to convey turning your perspective around and shifting it from a negative of focusing on everything that you don't have, focusing on the lack, and then saying, hey, shift it around. We've been through a lot. Where are we now? And we're in a much happier place. Why? Because we are working on our dreams.
Absolutely.
We are waking up, and it doesn't even matter what capacity it's in. We are actually doing it. So like that's where we have to continue to stay. So Walk Into the Sun is an automatic, whether you listen to it or you watch the video, it will absolutely activate happiness within you. let it go ahead and then spark that smile, you know, because I have to listen to it on my days of doubt. I have to turn it right on, and those first words are, I look at you crying, but wipe those tears away. And I'm like, okay, smile.
And you know, it's interesting. If we would all really start out our day in that way, can you imagine how contagious that would be?
Yes.
And instead of all of us walking around complaining about something,
Yes.
we are sharing sunshine even on a cloudy day. And I got that from somebody else. But you know, my father taught me something when I was a young girl. My father would get up before all of us in the morning. He'd go into the bathroom and you would hear his loud voice and he would say, "Good morning, handsome." You know, and all of us, you know, we're still in bed. The alarms haven't gone off yet, but we heard it. And I once asked him, like, why do you do that? He said, because I'm going to have a good day. If I see a handsome guy reflecting back at me, he said, then my day has started out well.
Yes.
And it took me, way into my adult years to finally realize that he's right.
Yes.
How many mornings do we wake up and we begrudgingly get up and then we go brush our teeth and we do things in motion,
Yeah.
but we don't even know what we're doing.
Yes.
But
And he set that day off right.
he
See, that's how
did.
you do it.
Absolutely. And I'll
Yes,
tell you,
Father.
my father had some very severe health issues,
Mhm.
and it didn't stop him.
Mhm.
He was determined to
Yes.
be a happy man.
Yes.
So
We
with
spend so much time on like being upset. And it's like,
yes,
you know what? That's what I told myself. I said, you know, I've spent so much time being sad. No more. I'm like over it. It doesn't matter. I remember I was at the store one day, and this guy walked by and I was like, hi. And he was like, how are you? And I was like, I am great. He was like, and I said, how are you? He said, oh, I'm trying. I said, don't try. Just have a great day. And he looked at me. He said, thank you. You know what? You are in charge of your day. I said, you know what I am.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So we got to take charge of our day because our perspective is everything. That's why they call it paying attention, right? Because you pay with your attention. So
I love
is
it.
my attention going to be paid on the negative aspects of the day, or can it be paid on the positive? Now, you can't always shift it. So if you need to feel something, look at something by all means. Do that. But just don't stay there. You
I
know,
love it.
just don't stay there. But
So
feel what you need to feel too, you know.
so Nitro, how can our listeners find you and follow you and
Yes.
maybe even come to see you in person?
Yes, yes. So we actually are from the tri-state area, the bands from the tri-state area. So our next show is in November in Delaware at the Queen, which is a famous theater in Wilmington, Delaware. So if you're in the tri-state area, by all means. If not, guess what? Look us up on YouTube, go to our YouTube channel. I'm telling you right now, you would love this new video, Walk into the Sun. So subscribe to our channel, Nitro Nitra. Go to Instagram, Nitro Nitra, Spotify, all the platforms, Nitro Nitra. You know, it's all Nitro Nitra. So you got it.
I love it. And for our listeners, as I always say, all this information will be in the show notes. So, don't think that you missed out on anything because you didn't. We're going to make sure
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
And we're going to hope that Nitro Nitra gets to Cleveland at the Rock Hall. That would be phenomenal.
Putting that on my list.
I love it.
Putting that on my list.
It's one wonderful thing that we do have here in Cleveland. And I'll tell you that if you've never been there, listeners, you got to take a trip and get to the Rock Hall because there are so many influences in there that you don't even remember music along those genres.
Wow.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us. Say hi to the band for us. Okay.
I definitely will.
And
this has been a great conversation. So nice talking to you.
Well, it's been wonderful. And I certainly hope that you get out of the tri-state and start moving across the United States so we all can see you in person.
Absolutely. That's what we are working on now. We are working on a tour. So I will definitely let you know.
Very good. Have a great day, hon. Bye-bye now.
You too. Bye.